As you can see, I haven't included Ozzy Osbourne's name in the title of this video as I don't want to cash in on the media frenzy surrounding his death earlier this week, which was actually also on the same day as my 41st birthday. The reason why I'm mentioning Ozzy at the start of this video is because his death reminded me of a previous video I had planned but not scripted. This is related to the contrived and almost pantomime side of paranormal investigations, and as my title says, the main big mistake that I feel ghost hunters are making on their investigations. So, why did Ozzy and Black Sabbath remind me of this video idea? It was primarily the fact that while Ozzy has been linked to many scandals surrounding satanic rituals, he has songs such as Mr. Crowley and albums like Speak of the Devil. On the whole, these were for shock value or have become legends within the music industry. When you actually watch back the reality TV show The Osbournes, or listen to their most recent podcasts, the majority of Ozzy's time has been spent laughing, making music and trying to overcome his many addictions. The so-called Prince of Darkness gave an interview in 2015 where he said, "I believe in God. I don't go to church, but I don't think you have to go to church to believe in God." The year before that, in another interview, he stated, "I'm a Christian. I was christened as a Christian. I used to go to Sunday school." And decades even before that, in 1981, he said the most telling thing. Does Christopher Lee play golf with vampires' teeth? Do these people who do horror movies walk around with black cloaks on every day of the week? It's just a role I'm playing. But how does this all relate to ghost hunting and my hot take on that one particular element? Just like Ozzy Osbourne, from the inception of paranormal investigation TV shows, there was an element of role-playing. This was prior to YouTube and video social media. What did the audience want to see? What would be interesting and pull in new viewers? What was the preconception of how a ghost hunter or team of investigators would look? And most critically, when should the investigation take place? When Ghost Adventures and Most Haunted were dominating the Western media in the early 2000s, the only other show that I'd seen was 40 and TV, late night on Channel 4. This had run for just 1 year in 1997, and it was squeezed in a lineup of Eurotrash and another TV show called Tarrant on TV, and I think it was also sometimes close to the Adam and Joe show. All classic British counterculture shows for their time, but this meant that 40 and TV wasn't really as spooky because it was surrounded by comedy and pastiche. When the new era of ghost shows came into play, there were infrared camera shots, dramatic music, handheld shots, and importantly, to remember, the first Blair Witch Project had been released by then and was fresh in people's minds. For the UK viewers, especially me, Most Haunted visited locations that I had been to with my parents on family holidays, but instead of being bathed in sunshine with manicured formal gardens, now these large, grand houses and castles were shot in moonlight, with people screaming, scared, and strange blurry shapes moving around in the distant darkness.
See what the crap?
I've got hold of it.
Right, I'm doing no more.
That's it.
As a YouTube video creator, I draw on my very basic training from college and university, where I studied media, film and communication alongside theatre. Maybe it's been this combination of subjects that has given me an edge when it comes to spotting fakery, or maybe it's because I'm inherently sceptical of absolutely anything I see on a screen. But I found from the start that I could tell who was being genuine and who wasn't. When they were being interviewed, I could tell who was elaborating and who truly believed that they had seen a paranormal experience. This brings me to the main mistake I think people make when carrying out a paranormal investigation. Investigations should always be conducted in daylight hours. There, I said it. I'm not saying don't ever visit at night. In fact, you need to do all hours of a day to get a full picture of the location and discount some variables, but I overwhelmingly believe that if you investigate a site calmly and methodically during the day, you will capture more true evidence, and that it's harder to debunk it when you have exhausted all other possibilities. And here's why.
Yeah, it's all open.
Humans are afraid of the dark. It's our animal instinct to try and decipher friend or foe in a dark place, seeing patterns and shapes in shadows, which could simply be trees blowing in the wind or a solid object caught in the beam of a moving torch. Our hearing is extra sensitive as we try and listen to the smallest, faintest noise. We wonder, are those footsteps? Is there an intruder who I can't see? All of these extrasensory, intense reactions are programmed into us. Therefore, when we're investigating a location in the dead of night or even twilight, it's easy to misinterpret perfectly normal things as the paranormal. People feed on others' emotions such as fear and excitement. Even if there are just two people carrying out an investigation, it's really easy to be caught up in the moment and encourage the other person to reflect back your feelings to you. If you're startled by a noise or if you see a strange light in the depths of an abandoned asylum corridor, it's very common for hysteria or adrenaline to amp up emotions until what could have been a perfectly explainable creaking floorboard is now a shadow figure, or what could have been normal radio static on the spirit box is believed to be a ghost saying something sinister or repeating your name back to you. Being in unfamiliar surroundings, having the expectation of coming face to face with a spirit, a demon, or even a homeless person in an abandoned site, all combine into one huge turmoil of anticipation cloaked in darkness. Now, I'm not saying I don't enjoy watching these types of investigation. The same goes for solo hunts, where a person is left alone in a building or a room to increase their fear. But this is the element of pantomime and extremism that detracts from serious and semi-scientific exploration of a reportedly haunted location. Listen, it can't be the case that every time a team of investigators visit a site, several paranormal things happen. Let's talk about stone tape theory. If that is the case, then sure, every time people visit at a certain time, they would experience the same phenomenon because the ghostly scene is being played out on repeat again and again until it finally fades away. But when it comes to bumps in the night from random poltergeist activity or spectral voices, it surely can't be that every time a team turns on their camera, they get an EVP recording or REM pod activity. Here's my opinion. Firstly, what has been reported at the place? Is this believed to be a spirit of a human or something demonic, maybe interdimensional? Let's assume for now that I'm speaking about ghosts of deceased humans. If you're investigating an ancient coaching inn or somewhere like a hospital that may have operated overnight, it is more likely that there are spirits who could remain and roam the halls after dark. But again, let's think about this. Out of how many normal deaths, how many of them do actually end up as spirits? If we take the coaching inn scenario and think of somewhere like the George Hotel in Crawley or the Black Swan Hotel in Wiltshire, they have reported examples of an unseen presence or children's voices. Other inns, such as the Jamaica Inn in Cornwall and the Holt Hotel in Oxfordshire, these have had notable deaths or events that have happened and supposedly created spirits that are chained to that property. So think about it. Across hundreds of years of operating, thousands of guests sleeping there, possibly millions of visitors combined, there are only a few notable cases of ghosts. This, by pure mathematical fact of probability, means that when teams come to investigate a location, especially if they're only coming for 8 to 12 hours overnight, they can't all possibly pick up on paranormal activity every time. My doubts about people's integrity would be greatly improved if they did multiple investigations at the same property at different times of the day and different times of night. The same team with the same equipment, building up a case of experiences that could be studied.
What the fuck?
I need to give a shout out to the Drip Paranormal team with Doody Rhino, who have been doing this for places such as Rendlesham Forest and the Ancient Ram Inn. But you see guys, it's not really enough. There's not enough people repeatedly going back to the same places or working with other people's evidence showing that there's a pattern. Another thing to consider is the equipment. EMF meters can easily pick up on other items producing an electromagnetic field. Cat balls are the latest fad, but the electronics inside them are so flimsy and sensitive that absolutely anything can set them off, even a small breeze or a slope of a floorboard. Spirit boxes and word bank generators are all based on pseudoscience, with some being outright scams, which I'll talk about in another video. The SLS captures are interesting, but again there's room for so much variation. How is equipment calibrated? How can we all get a base control before assessing other people's evidence?
I don't think they have the power to turn it back on again, frankly. I really think they don't.
So, with all that said, let's get back to daytime investigation. In daylight hours, you can see further, and you're therefore more confident in your surroundings, even if they're unfamiliar. If we're going to be seeking spirits of deceased humans, we are more likely to encounter them in the daytime going about their regular activities, especially if stone tape theory is to be believed. A medieval maid visiting a scullery 50 times a day for her whole life is more likely to appear in that area during working hours. Also, you're less likely to assume a noise is something paranormal because you can clearly see your immediate area, or you can see whether a bird is roosting above you or if there's a broken door swinging on its hinges further along. And guess what? All pieces of equipment, bar the SLS, work perfectly well in daylight. I know this has been a bit of a different kind of video, but I thought it really needed to be discussed because YouTube and even streaming channels are absolutely saturated with ghost hunting shows that really should be classified as entertainment, not paranormal investigation. Don't forget to leave your opinions below in the comments, and as always, stay curious. I don't know if you just got that, Alex, my phone just moved.